Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the 22 Panels Milestone Book Club. I'm joined by the brothers Anderson, not related. And today we're going to talk about Milestone and the Shadow Cabinet.
Yeah, I mean, this is finally, last week you talked about the crossover, and now finally we're talking about something that follows up on that crossover. Or oh wait, no, actually, I'm just
No,
receiving
no.
reports. This is an entirely different crossover follow.
Uh, I mean,
Sorry, I had a
does
better delivery for that.
anything follow up on that other crossover?
Yeah, I had a better delivery for that joke in mind, by the way, but I just kind of rushed it and
Right.
kind of biffed it. So
That's fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
Sometimes you
but
got to go
You
for it.
you want to start over? We
take
we can
those
try
risks.
again.
We could do a
No,
re
no,
yeah,
no.
do a
Leave it in.
re-record.
Leave it all
No, I
in.
wasn't going to re-record. I was just going to make you do it again.
Ah, crap.
Oof.
Man, that's rough.
You were going to do it and go, okay, you can edit that out. And I was going to go, edit?
Nice, second chance.
I hear no editing.
But yeah, I mean, this is the actual follow up to the Shadow War crossover, which,
Right.
and I'm actually, I kind of want to look it up, but I'm being way too lazy, and I don't really want to actually have to look it up. But I'm curious to know, like, in terms of chronology, when did this happen, and like compared to, when did blah, 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 blah,
Shadow War?
when did yeah, like when did Shadow War end? When
Well,
did this start? When did
I
Worlds Collide
happen to
happen?
have both volumes next to me, so I'll answer that.
Ooh.
Shadow Cabinet, June 1994 for Shadow Cabinet number one.
Ah,
And uh, blah, 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 blah.
well, and also like compared to the Worlds Collide stuff, although that's harder to compare because it's different series,
Yeah,
and
I
I
wouldn't
don't know.
say.
I'm just curious because like it feels like it's been a long time, although of course it's just that's how the issues are laid out. It's not as though it's a
Well, the Shadow War stuff was the end of the last volume, right?
right.
So it
Yeah,
went through March of '94.
Okay.
right. But probably what Ted you're talking about is the fact of just even like release wise, right? Months because
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, who knows where. Okay,
So we're
oh
a
you said
couple months
March
off.
94.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's not that much.
Um,
So I'm sorry. What did you say the timing was?
well, hold on, because the Blood Syndicate issue doesn't have it listed as a Shadow War issue. I find the last one is listed as a Shadow War issue.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, Ted, why don't you
Yeah, you guys
continue your
go
thoughts
ahead.
while
Anyway,
we're
no,
researching.
I loved these issues. I mean, I'll just give it
Me
straight up.
too.
Like this is an interesting shift. I mean, again, like we were saying about how Milestone does like to do different things. Like it's got the superhero stuff, and it's got
Hmm.
your icon for your big splashy stuff. You've got your Blood Syndicate for your more kind of street level heroes. You've got your static, but then you also have Zombie as its sort of
Yeah.
Vertigo
Yeah.
equivalent ish. But then this now comes in and it's like I was going to say the X-Files, but it's not that. It's G.I. Joe. Like it's left-wing G.I. Joe because this is this shadowy organization of superpowered figures, almost none of whom seem to be connected to the actual Big Bang as far as well, so far as we know yet. But
Yeah.
like
There's mentions of it, but you're right. Yeah.
yeah, like none of them got their power. None of the ones that we know about got their powers from the Big Bang, as far as we can
Hmm.
see. And having again read the trading cards when I was a kid, like I know for a fact that a lot of these guys did not like. I'm not even sure any of them, any of like
Yes.
the main Shadow Cabinet guys got their powers from
On the Big
the
Bang.
Big Bang. I'd
Although,
be
can one oh, not to take it too far off what you're saying, but one interesting thing is, God, the names. I will say the names escape me because like a lot of times DC, Marvel, Milestone, when they're introducing a group, they'll have the big splash page with all the names, so it's
yeah,
easy to
six people showing
commit
up.
them. But the oh, Iron Butterfly, I know her superhero name.
Yes,
Iron Butterfly, like it's interesting because like her story as a Palestinian woman, and there was I want to say there was a bombing or gas that was used against her people, right? Which I
yes,
think led to her. I may be confusing characters, but I think it led to her getting power powers, and without spoiling too much in the. Oh wait, we did read the newer Blood Syndicate run, right? The current
Yeah,
Milestones
we
Reborn,
for
and
the show I did. I can't remember if it was for the show or not. Ah, shit.
yeah, I think we
We
did.
did.
I
We
think
did.
we did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there was a woman in that. I can't remember. I don't necessarily think she was Iron Butterfly, but I don't know that she was revealed. But in that new run, Raleigh, Tech Nine, and Wise
Faith.
Son,
Yeah.
they were overseas in the military.
That's
And
yes.
there was an incident over there that in which they got their powers. So I'm interested in if in the newer run if they're playing off of like the events that led to Iron Butterfly's origin story. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like because it made me
Yeah.
wonder if like I don't know, was there possibly alpha gas or technology used there? I may be reaching, and it might be because I have the new run in my mind and the Middle East connection, but
Well,
I
and
don't know.
also, I mean, it's a little hard to keep track of like all these different continuities and like, oh yeah, what happened
Right,
in the new version
right.
versus this version? Yeah, no, I'm I don't get me wrong, I love the ship, but also it's like I can't remember which version is
It's
which
hard to
version.
keep track.
And
Yeah.
also, again, like I had the I had the trading cards as a kid, so I know some of this
I
stuff,
need to
even though
order
I
the
haven't
trading
actually like
cards.
seen it yet. What was that?
Like I said, you can
I need
get
to
them very
order the trading.
affordably.
Yeah, I know you can.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
You just haven't pulled
so
the
tempted.
trigger yet.
Yeah. I gotta open mine. I got a pack downstairs. I think I still have that 90s kid like mint in box thing, but I'm gonna open them because I'm not going to put my child through college on these cards. So
Yeah,
I'm just
it's
gonna
No,
enjoy them.
no, you will
um,
not.
but yeah, that's I am I like from what I'm remembering off the top of my head, very few of the characters actually got their powers in the Big Bang, and appropriately enough, very few of them have any sort of. It's a world traveling James Bondy, not James Bond. It's changing the world, not always for the better, sometimes for the worse. It's a lot of mystery and darkness and shadows. It's yeah, I don't know, man. I
Yeah,
love it.
I would even compare it to and like we've talked about this in the past. I mean, obviously, like a lot of one of the things Milestone books do a lot and do well is take an existing archetype and just like totally do something really new and fresh with it. And I would, obviously I thought of Suicide Squad a bit,
Hmm.
especially like 80s like Ostrander Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
but very different too. Like, because whereas Suicide Squad is like this like US government covert operation. I mean literally their first mission in which we jump in, they're they're essentially like undercutting the U.S. government's attempts to take this really dangerous, like superpowered mass murderer. And
Well, that
they
was an
know that.
unsanctioned mission, though.
True. Wait, we'll say it again.
That wasn't Shadow Cabinet wasn't doing that. That was
No,
that
no,
was
that's what
that
I'm
was an
saying. The U.S.
unsanctioned.
government was going to recruit that dude, but the Shadow Cabinet was circumventing them.
No, it was just the girl that was circumventing it.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
gotta
I
reread that. Are you
cause,
sure?
'cause- yeah, because they got mad at her.
You sure Dharma
whoa.
wasn't in on that? No, no. Hold on a
Sorry.
second.
She
Okay.
felt
Okay.
manipulated.
Okay.
Let's.
Um,
Because well, either way, yeah. Why don't we just let's just talk about the story and then we'll get
Yeah.
to it.
I mean, so
I'm fact checking myself.
I'm confused too now. I'm trying to remember, and I literally
No, no,
just read
no.
these
Because
a little before
remember,
the.
no. At the end, what's his name? The animal guy. He gets
Sideshow.
angry at Dharma. Yeah, slideshow gets angry at or sideshow. Excuse me. He gets angry at Dharma because Dharma had called it. I forget. There's an acronym for the
Sand,
type
search
of
and
mission. Yeah,
destroy.
search and destroy mission. And Dharma had very much set this underway. So you might be thinking of the later mission where Iron Butterfly was going after the like terrible Russian dudes.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
dude.
mean? And that was
maybe.
one where I think that's what you're thinking about. But in this first one, this basically the whole team's on board, and like Dharma, who we've met before, uh, essentially like runs the show for the group. Um, he sets off the search and destroy mission. But I mean, I bring that up because, unlike, if anything, in this universe, maybe the people who were going to recruit this guy or this universe is Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? Because like
Kind of,
they're
yeah.
working for the U.S. government and they're looking to recruit this really dangerous superhero dude to do bad U.S. CIA type stuff. You know what I
That's
mean? But like, yeah.
and
No, right. First page here, or second page here. Um, Proud of yourself. It's bad enough using your ability to control and shape metal on non-cabinet affairs in defiance of. I told you before, Dharma, my powers are my own. I keep our covert nature in mind. That's why I configured my armor into a different form.
Oh,
that's like
you're
that cold
talking
open.
about the yes, no, you're talking about the yes, that's like the an isolated mission at the beginning. I was talking about like the big mission of that first issue though. Remember,
No,
like
no.
after those events, then they go after the was Frostbite. His name's not Frostbite.
Well,
It's
but I thought you said in because that's the Pakistani mission, or
oh
not
yeah, I had moved on.
Palestinian mission.
Sorry, that
Yeah,
that was a previous.
we're
I kind of
we're on a
moved
new
on from
subject.
that conversation. Yeah, I
So okay,
apologize.
so first off, like one of the things about this series that I really like is that it's very it's very mission oriented. It's structured. It's very structured in the sense that like every issue, for the most part, every issue starts with like one or more characters getting, well, multiple characters getting the call of like, hey, we got a mission, we're doing something, cool
Hmm.
stuff is happening, and usually they're like in the middle of something else. Like I loved in issue 2, we see Iota like stealing artifacts from him, stealing the pistol that Andrew Johnson used or
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson used just to like sell it off in the black market or something. Like that stuff is great. And then all
Hmm.
getting called in to have a mission. And then each
Right.
issue, well, the first 2 issues are one and done self-contained stories in which they go into a mission. They're told by Dharma, you got to do this because Destiny says so, because I can see the future. I forget if we know that yet. Like, spoiler alert, Dharma can actually literally see the future. Um,
Hmm.
I forget if that's actually like established or if it's still mysterious, but yeah. Um, and so they go out and have to do whatever Dharma tells them to do because he can see the future. And then they, go off on this mission. There's some twists and turns, there's some betrayals, there's some unexpected stuff. And of course, in the end, no matter what they try to do, it turns out Dharma kind of predicted all that and they had to do some horrible stuff anyway. And then
Hmm.
Dharma says something cryptic along the lines of like, what's the thing he says? We'll do worse before we're done. And, which is,
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so
And
good.
he also and there's a lot of uh flipping of terminology when it comes to like the ethics of what they just did too.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah.
And also, I mean, you mentioned like this is the inverse of the Suicide Squad. The next storyline, I kind of skipped on ahead, maybe the next
Hmm.
bit too. I kind of skipped on ahead because I was curious where the issue that I owned as a kid fits in, and
Hmm.
it's close. It comes up very shortly afterwards, um, and
Okay.
it is literally going into a fictional South American banana republic in which a CIA-backed dictator has run the country for the last like 30 years.
Hmm.
And now there's a democratically elected new president who's almost certainly going to be assassinated, and they have to prevent that. So, like, it is like the inverse of the Suicide Squad CIA stuff. It's very clearly deliberately set out to be, yeah, these are international heroes with anti-government or at least anti-US government backing and intentions. One of them is quite literally like an anti-establishment hippie, which is friggin' great. I love Sideshow.
Hmm.
Um, his storyline is fun. His little mission in issues
Yeah.
3 and 4 was great. Um, but also we've got, Plus, who seems to be like talking to another person that we can't see. We've got Iron Butterfly, who's, like you said, Palestinian, was uh uh lost her home in like a massacre when she was a child and then had weird
Hmm.
powers inflicted on her. We've got this interesting cast of characters with all these very distinct and diverse perspectives doing sometimes horrible stuff in order to, prevent even worse tragedies from coming about
Yeah.
in a really cool way. And I like that a lot. And Dharma gets to be a real jerk in a way that is, it's nice to see him be unequivocally like an asshole sometimes and doing bad stuff. And like it's apparently the thing that must happen for the greater good or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I it's snappy. Like each issue. So those first 2 issues are done in one. The second and third, or the third and fourth issues are a two-parter. But even that, it's very, it clips along nicely. It's very character. It's not character driven, but like the characters do feel very distinct. They feel very, very
Yeah.
real and very like, oh, I've seen these. These are understandable archetypes. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would even I would kind of call it character driven in the sense that there's cool stuff. So I mean, you're right. Like it's a team, and so we don't necessarily sit with any one character too much, but they do a thing where they kind of like maybe focus in on like certain characters a little bit more. Like I'd say
mhm.
the first issue we get the majority of the team except for Iota. But then like in the preceding issues, they kind of like focusing on a few. And there's a cool moment, just skipping ahead a little bit, and we can come back, where uh Sideshow, right? Like who, we really like the third arc of this, the third story in this arc, that he basically it deals a lot with him in his past, right? And trying to like dig up go off on his own mission. And there's an interesting dynamic because you brought up how like Dharma, right, is like all seeing and is the boss essentially. But you kind of see cool things where like there's differing relationships. Like Iota is definitely like kind of like a second in command, and she's like a real like hard ass. And then what Donner and Blitzen, they kind of they're closer, and we're not even sure if it's necessarily like romantic or if it's just they're like best buds or what. But they're they're like really close, and they have their own thing. And then there's like a really cool moment where Sideshow basically in his storyline, he feels like he's kind of on his own to figure out this mystery he's trying to solve, and the Donner and Blitzen, they show up and they're basically like, oh, we got your back. And like and he's all like, wow, like I didn't even know you guys really did stuff off mission. I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah.
away from the team, and they're like breaking down the dynamics. So like, nah, we chill, and then like these other ones, they're cool and blah blah blah, and they're kind of breaking down like this stuff that happens outside. It almost makes me think of like if you just got like a crew of friends or whatever, and there's like the big collective, but then you might be like tighter with a few other people, or
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah, you've got
and
your little not clicks, but you've got, this person is more, chill with this person and so forth. Yeah.
yeah, and there's something really sweet about it in the sense that like um you could tell in this arc, we don't even know that it's like specifically family related, the mystery that Sideshow's trying to solve initially, but it's revealed later. But all we know is that Donner and Blitzen, they realize that like he's got some heavy stuff on his shoulders and he could use a hand, and they're like helping him like just because, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, they're like just doing it like to be good and like to kind of get to know him a little bit better, and they're looking out for him. So it's kind of cool that they have like these different dynamics that are going on.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
like it I've said that it's snappy, but like they don't sacrifice characterization. Everyone feels they've got their kind of interesting little dynamics, like you said. Yeah, man, this like I remember liking it the first time I did my big milestone read through, and like this has done nothing to change my mind. Like this is a very fun addition to the Milestones universe, despite the fact that it like has really little to do with like Dakota, you know?
yeah.
Like hardly anyone from the mainline series show up, which I don't know. I mean, I that's maybe the one fly in the ointment is that there's okay, I shouldn't say there's very little that feels Milestone about this, because definitely there's a lot that is Milestone
Mhm.
in the sense that like, oh yeah, you've got extremely openly political narratives going on. You've got characters talking about like, oh yeah, US backed coups, those happen all the time. And like it's very
Right.
openly about a political situation.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
I would also just add that like there's cool stuff, like how I said that like Milestone will kind of take maybe existing character archetypes and things. And if we're being real, like I don't know how many superpowers are there that and but then like for instance, the Cold Snap, is that the dude's name? But whatever the
the freeze
villain
guy,
that they
yeah.
have to deal with, like I'm like, oh, essentially he's almost like if Bobby Drake, just decided to like really go bad as
Well, but
Iceman. Yeah.
but it's actually, I mean, that's maybe the one thing is that it is so snappy that sometimes it's hard to tell exactly what the intention is, because the way that he's being written, he sometimes seems like he's actually apologetic about having to, like, he's like, oh no, I didn't mean to kill her or whatever. And like, he sounds like he's trying to justify himself as not a super, a serial killer or
Oh,
whatever.
you know what I read him as. And look, I know we've talked a lot about a lot of different works of art in the show. I'm not sure how you guys feel about this film, but uh, anybody who's heard me talk about movies a lot knows that may know that I loathe Taxi Driver. I think it's wildly overrated. Travis Bickle is trash. And but like just with the with the jacket and everything and him skulking, you know, in the streets and his bitterness about like how like Commando, because he had wanted to work in films, which is ironic because like today's like horrible fascists like people like Steve Bannon and everything are failed Hollywood people. You know, they're people who had these Hollywood aspirations that just that didn't pan out because they suck.
Yeah, was it Stephen Crowder who was in
Also,
Arthur as
yeah,
a
I
kid, the
believe
voice acting stuff? God.
yeah, I think so. Like, so but like he's this kind of bitter, entitled, like white dude, and even the brief interactions that he has with Sideshow, it's like, all right, yeah, I see where you're at and everything. So I think the visual nod to Taxi Driver in him before he kind of like flipped out.
That's fair.
I think it tells us like kind of where he's at.
That's fair. Okay, to be fair, I never have actually seen Taxi Driver. So
Oh, you're fine.
no, but it's like I mean, I didn't catch I didn't catch that reference as a
Yeah,
thing for you.
yeah.
I do love that the most famous scene in Taxi Driver was completely ad-libbed.
What, you talking to me?
Yeah. All it said
Yeah.
in the script was Travis looks in the mirror.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Well,
He's still garbage though,
So
but yes.
I wasn't
Sorry,
trying to
no,
defend
I'm not.
Travis.
Yeah.
And I hope you're not saying De Niro's garbage because I kind of like De Niro.
Yo,
But
okay. So I didn't want to make this a Taxi Driver podcast, but
It's not.
like I feel like De Niro redeemed himself from then because I remember. All right, so I'll tell this briefly. This is my Taxi Driver story. Okay, there was like back in the day, there was this art gallery that was like around the corner from my apartment, and like all of us like poet artists, people who live in the neighborhood, like it was a happening place to be for the time, right? Because they would do, other than having art, they would they would do like movie screenings and other events, and it happened to be like the 25th anniversary of Taxi Driver. I had heard people like like film buff people around me like go on and on about Taxi Driver, but I had never seen it. So I was like, oh, cool, let me check this out. And the matter of fact, no, they didn't screen it. They had like somebody like did their like I don't know one man show or two-person show based on Taxi Driver. So then I was like, all right, this is how long ago it was. This is in the days of Blockbuster. So I went and took out the DVD, and they had like this 25th anniversary edition of it, and I'm watching it and I'm like, yo, this is pretty racist. Like, because like it's not because literally your protagonist and the character you're following is explicitly racist. It's not even like a matter of interpretation. Yes, he's a veteran, and I empathize with that and the people, the many things that people in armed forces deal with, but that doesn't necessarily explain his racism. You know what I mean? And he's sick of New York. He's sick of 70s New York. There's a famous monologue where he's going on and on about it. But like just the way the movie is framed, it's just like he hates black people. And that movie was so racist that the reason why the pimp at the end that he has to kill, that who's the big boss, the end boss of the game, that he has to kill is like this white guy, is because the producers stepped in and was like, look, there are like he's killing way too many black people, and the racism in this movie is way too underlined. And these are 70s producers. These aren't even like producers today. You know what I mean? It was too racist for white 70s producers. And they were like, you got to make this guy white. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. It's a pretty racist movie. But my point is, I don't even know what my point is. I can't I know what it is. My point, the only reason I brought it up is because I took out the DVD and they had a commentary track. So I also, after I watched it, I was like, I don't want everyone to see this movie again, but I do want to hear what they have to say for themselves. So De Niro and not Coppola. That's wait, who? Scorsese. De Niro and Scorsese
yeah.
were on the commentary track, and De Niro basically was like, yeah, I feel bad that at the time I kind of identify. He was like, I don't identify with Travis Bickle now, but at the time, like me and Marty, we like really identified with. And I'm like, yo, that's a bad look, But he did clarify that he doesn't feel that way now, but it wasn't cool. So anyway,
Well,
I
but
No,
don't
it's
like
that's
I don't
also
like Taxi Driver.
testimony that people can learn and change.
I mean, I bet you,
I'm willing
you
to
know,
bet plenty of
Bobby's
people
black
don't
wife probably was like, bro,
learn and
you
change,
gotta let that go.
but 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 sometimes they do,
Mm,
and I like to believe that it can happen.
it can, it can.
um
I wish that it happened more.
anyway,
Yeah, yeah. Let's get off Taxi Driver
no,
though. I
sorry.
can't.
No, I mean, what part of what makes me love this series is that it's so structured and it's so like every issue's done kind of has to be done in one, except for those like the two-parter, but that's sort of a special case. And even then it's very structured. Um and like it's very snappy. And I kind of looked it up because I wasn't familiar with the name Matt Wayne until I realized, oh, he's been like editor on a whole bunch of the books for the
Mm,
longest time. So he's got mad knowledge of how this should be run in a really cool way. And it's not he's not I'm not used to seeing him as a writer on the book. So
mm,
that's what was surprising about me there. It was surprising for me there. But like his stuff when he comes on in issue 3, I think I really started like the first two issues by Robert E. Washington the third. Those are good, but like I don't know, something about Wayne's dialogue and is starting in issue 3. I like it a lot. It's very, I mean, it moves at an extreme clip. Like,
mm.
they make in that second issue, I kind of took a second look at like, hey, wait a minute. So this dude just like, okay, so the first issue, okay, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place on this.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
the first issue we have what is sort of a very not standard, but kind of an introductory mission for the Shadow Cabinet that's a little bit easier to understand where they're coming from. It's like, okay, here's this dude with powers who has killed a bunch of people, who is apparently like Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, um, who is about to be put imprisoned. He is also probably going to be picked up by the U.S. government in order to do horrible assassination stuff. So instead, we want you to do a sand on him. Sideshow says, "I don't want to do a sand. That's a bad thing." He doesn't explain what a sand is until the very end. But
mm,
yeah, basically they assassinate him. So very much sort of a Suicide Squad-esque element in that it's people having to do really bad things. Not all of them agree, but they're kind of in a bind for reasons that aren't entirely clear as to like why they have to do this. Because you figure like, what's stopping you from just kind of running off on your own, Sideshow? But that we I think we get to that eventually. So,
yeah.
um, but it's very, very quick, very snappy storylines that have cool action. And of course, these first four issues are also all JP Leone joints, so they look incredible.
Mhm.
Um, and then the second issue is this thing involving uh white slave traffickers in Eastern Europe in fake former USSR country. What was the name of it? What's the name of the fake country?
Yeah, I
Kyrgyzstan or
know.
something.
It
It's
started with
some,
the S. Yeah,
yeah, Slovakia or something. It's
something
it's
like
made
that.
up country number one. Um, and they go in and like it involves Donner having to pretend to be an American, having answered an ad to become the white slave to this, basically becoming a sex worker, being sex trafficked to some
Right.
horrible mob boss in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, because this is explicitly kind of gender based as well. Like this is, which the cool thing about this, not to take away from you, but is that you're it's almost exclusive. It is exclusively the female members of the team, or you know what I mean,
Oh,
and
that's true. I
they're
never thought about that, but you're right.
and perspective wise, like yeah, it's cool because it's essentially without even like using the word, it's very much a takedown of like misogyny and of also just of kind of like abusive male behavior. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
until
And
you pointed it out, I didn't realize. Yeah, it's all female heroes in this issue.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's very snappy. It's very fun. It's satisfying to see the guy get, nailed into a box and then mailed off to Turkey at the end to the hands of his enemies. Like,
hmm
it's great stuff. It's very fun. And then those issues 3 and 4 are even better because they managed to give us they instead go for, here's the backstory of Sideshow, which is a really snappy, really nice little storyline about him and his dad, and how his dad basically treated the company as his other son. And
Right.
and Sideshow, of course, got the shaft on that. So it's, yeah, man, these 4 issues, they kick off really strong.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I enjoyed Shadow Cabinet uh as a series. And it is an odd, maybe not odd. I mean, at this point nothing's odd for Milestone because they're doing so many interesting things, but it is a departure for Milestone because it is so disconnected from Dakota specifically, but it makes sense as a story about, again, like marginalized people who don't
Right.
normally get comics made about them elsewhere in the world, and broadening the scope of what we've seen in Milestone. And I mean, it already
Yeah,
it
I
already
would I
existed
would
in Shadow War, but yeah,
I would kind of argue that I'd say like maybe as opposed to a departure, I kind of think this was the plan, you know what I mean? Not necessarily get away from Dakota, but to um to not have like a cookie cutter uh approach to these books and even identity, you know what I mean? Like
sure.
because it's like the further Milestone went along, they really did deviate into many directions. And yeah, definitely it's like obviously Dakota is kind of Milestone's home base, but if I'm remember correctly, I'm trying to remember if like Death Blows miniseries, if that took place in Dakota, or was it another
Oh,
city? I want to say it was like Detroit or a different city.
that's a good question. I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
know we haven't read it in this book, but I just remember it not necessarily having to do with the other heroes, but it was
Well, and
I
and
don't
of course, Zombie already was
right. It does its
technically.
own
I
thing.
mean, it started off in Dakota and obviously had Dakota stuff, but like it went all over the place,
Right.
and didn't have to stay in Dakota.
Yeah. I
But this
think those
is
initial what like 3 books were so I mean, slight pun, iconic that a lot of people like associate like, Dakota and those 3 books with being the flavor of Milestone. But I think one of the things I really like about it, and look, this is cool for me because like at the time, I missed this book. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so this
hmm.
is a fresh experience for me, and I like really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the pieces of Milestone that I didn't get when they were coming out new.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a shock at first because you're like, oh, this is something I've never really seen before. But then you're like, oh, this is something I've never really seen before. I love this. It's a really cool. Yeah, it's not a departure. It is a departure in the sense that we're not in Dakota, but it's not really because yeah, they're just this is the stories that haven't been told before, and we're telling them now. So like that, yeah,
Yeah.
it fits perfectly. Um, but yeah, this I don't know. It's snappy. It's fun without sacrificing, politics. Yeah, I don't know. These issues, man.
I
These
don't,
these issues
yeah,
rule. I like Shadow Cabinet a lot. It is a
yeah.
little annoying for Dharma to just at first be just like Mr. Mysterious Evil Guy, in the same sense like the first, few seasons of X-Files. It's just like, oh, cigarette smoking man is doing something sinister again. Like there's kind of nothing to him just yet. I don't feel
Mhm.
like, where he's just sort of like, I have to be sinister and in the shadows and have mysterious reasons for shit. But like, I know he gets more later on, so I'm kind of willing to give it a pass for right now.
Yeah, I mean it's starting, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like to be fair, like I think a lot of the um it's almost like I don't know, it's not the best analogy, but if you think about like The Office, the early seasons of The Office, it's like Michael is Michael and he's like doing like terrible stuff, but it's like maybe probably the most engaging parts of the show where like the other characters and like what they're is going on with them like while Michael's Michaeling off, above them, so to speak.
Yeah,
So
that is
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like and you're kind of like slowly getting pieces of each of their stories. So what I was reminded of is obviously this is a very different team than Blood Syndicate,
mm,
but I think in a lot of ways there's similarities only in the sense that like Blood Syndicate also kind of came in, moved at a quick clip, introduced like an array of characters with different interactions between them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Different relationships, conflicts, etc. And they set it up early. And like I think one of the things that like you're probably reacting to in liking these issues is I think they do a pretty good job of just setting this up, like setting up this little this kind of like world and this that they inhabit and their interactions, conflicts, and all the above. Because I feel like there's like a lot of cool ways it could go from here. And even though we bounced around with characters, I feel like I came away with a pretty good sense of some of these dynamics that they'll
Yeah.
probably build on. So I definitely
Yeah,
see them doing that with Dharma.
yeah, it is. It is. I mean, like Dharma just has to be kind of the shadowy taskmaster for right now. He does
Right.
get more later on. Like I already know for a fact that like they do. He's got a whole story of his own. Obviously, they start explaining and expanding on it. But it is just at first it's a little bit annoying for him to just be like constantly cryptic about everything and anyway. But that's just the nature of the game of the beast. Like this is good stuff, and I know they're building towards bigger things, and it's so fun to read all this and get into this world. And like I mean the Blood Syndicate comparison is very apt because yeah, that's the same thing. You have this cast of characters with interesting dynamics, and everyone's got a secret or a personal history or a whatever, and sometimes that's explored, or sometimes it's just in the background, but it's always there, and you know that these characters have interesting things to do and interesting ways to go, and like you're just willing to be along for the ride because hell, this is going to be fun.
Right.
um yeah, it's this man. Yeah, this series so far is one of my absolute favorites, I think. It's very yeah, it moves along at a good clip, man. I don't know what else to say. Like it's
Yeah.
a fun read. There's very little like there's no like wasted space. It always feels like everything's moving exactly as fast as it needs to. Um yeah, I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
and it's interesting. Like I think it's very smart in the ways that it like I don't know, like that second issue that we mentioned too with the the Russian Soviet type guys
Yeah.
and everything and how like the ladies busted them up. The women aren't all like cardboard cutouts, but I love how like perspective wise, like it's definitely from the women's perspective. So it's not even like just like I don't know, these guys are bad guys because they're gonna blow stuff up. Like it's specifically based around their gender
Yeah, they're
based
evil guys because
crimes.
they are
Yeah,
sexually enslaving women. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
let's go bust them up. And even if there's some sort of Dharma thing of like, oh, well, actually, there's part of this big conspiracy or whatever. It's like, no, it's also just they're evil human beings.
Right.
Let's go off and or send them to a Turkish prison for the rest of their life. Yeah, it's fun to
Yeah,
see that.
like for Donner, like regardless of where Dharma is coming from, for Donner, her motivations, especially once she's there, is kind of like, oh, F this. Like these dudes gotta go, basically.
Something else I just realized, like comparing this to Blood Syndicate, um, like something that is distinct from how Blood Syndicate's characters tend to be. This is really while all these characters have distinct personalities and different perspectives on things, very few of them have any sort of like angst about what's going on. And not
Hmm.
that angst is a bad thing, but like that is, a lot of the Blood Syndicate characters are dealing with like, oh man, I'm a monster. I've had to, do these horrible things. Or like, I can't look at myself in the mirror. Or, what's going to happen when I die? When I can't save everybody. But like in this book, these characters are more just like, yeah, man, I got these powers. I'm dealing with this stuff. Like I'm going for it. They're less like sort of consumed with their personal issues in a way that makes it feel more lighthearted. And again, that's not to make this is making it sound like I dislike Blood Syndicate, and I absolutely don't. I love Blood Syndicate. I think it's a great book. I think it's really solid. But it's also fun to have these characters who get to just sort of be like, yep, here's my powers. All right, we got to go off and fight these, sex trafficking Russians. Sure, let's go in and do it. I'm gonna break this guy's arm. Like Donner's having fun when she's pretending to be this sort of vapid American who's being tricked into sex slavery, and then eventually
Hmm.
she's like, okay, cool, I finally get to just beat the crap out of this guy. Like
Yeah, yeah. And it's
they're having
satisfying when she does.
it's satisfying, but it's also
Yeah.
like, she's just doing this for a laugh. I like it. There's a lightheartedness to it that is it's not a comedy book by any means, but things aren't as again like
Yeah. Well, look,
angst
I mean,
makes it sound like yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like the big distinction between the two, and I think Ivan Velez was really smart in how he did it. Like the same way that like we're not the first ones to point out like Blood Syndicate isn't a superhero team, they're a super gang, right? Like they're I think a big theme of Blood Syndicate is the fact that um you can get powers and everything, but like maybe your place and your position in society and um your trauma and your socioeconomic situation still informs your life.
Yeah.
And like if you think about the Blood Syndicate characters, all of the things that they're wrestling with kind of predate, if anything, if anything, like um in the case of Brick House, right, like yeah, like the fact that she's just does not, she'll never like read as human, and in her eyes what she sees as beautiful, like you could associate that with her powers and everything, but there's a lot of ways in which, like, Black people, Latino people, women of color, especially just darker people in general, society sends us all kinds of, like, shitty and untrue messages about, to make us feel ugly in certain ways, like, at least in an attempt to. So like even that to me is like a metaphor of that kind of messaging that people get, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just think that that is a central theme of Blood Syndicate, and it what you're saying is true, the differences between the two. I also just think that like maybe who the Blood Syndicate characters are and their specific, lot in life, being from Paris Island, kind of informs their situation. It's the same
Yeah.
way, like, in any given city, you can have people a few blocks apart and they like live in different worlds.
Oh yeah. No, I do. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be clear, it is I'm not. Yeah. I feel a little bit shallow now for having
No,
said
no,
all that.
I literally just was, no, I think it's
Yeah,
an interesting thing to
I'm not.
discuss.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm not
like
accusing
taking
you either.
issue. Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
It is just me realizing though that like yeah, it's fun because they don't have to angst about it, which means that they're not necessarily suffering. I mean, yeah, it's a different vibe. It's a different vibe from what they're doing in Blood
Yeah,
Syndicate, and neither one is like better than the other. I just this is fun in a way that Blood Syndicate didn't always try to be and wasn't expecting
yeah,
to be. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, this is a fun series to read. Although it's clearly building up to bigger and weirder things, and like that's the conspiracy stuff is also like um I came to it late because I never read it at the time, but I know that like a lot of the Wildstorm books of the 90s kind of were also going for that vibe of like the weird, UN black helicopters and mysterious conspiracies and who controls the world and what was the company IO or whatever in the Wildstorm
something
books?
like that. Yeah,
Yeah, and Stormwatch and like anyway, like it's not exactly the same thing, but like there's a level of the conspiracy, shadowy black ops stuff that this is of a piece with in a cool way. Um, and again, being like the left wing version of GI Joe or Suicide Squad is a fun is a fun version of the standard storyline.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. So I mean, I that first story does I think a lot to really recommend itself as here's the basic Blood Syndicate or Blood Syndicate. Here's the basic um story of a shadow cabinet, and that second story just establishes further here's the kind of things we can do in this. Um and it's and then they go on to the issues 3 and 4, which get to be their own character driven thing. Um as well as sort of making it clear that there's even deeper conspiracies going on because like yeah there's this horrible villain who's like an eco-terrorist and then it turns out she's also a former shadow cabinet member because it turns out she's also evil and it's like it 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 broadens the world while also keeping it accessible and it yeah I can't say enough good things about this about these issues. I really like it.
yeah. No, definitely.
Sorry,
Oh,
I
okay.
sniffed right
No,
in the mic.
yeah, I was gonna say that, like, I mean, for me, like, yeah, my endorsement of these issues is I peeked ahead to see if there was any more Shadow Cabinet coming up in this compendium. Unfortunately, there isn't, but
Sounds
I'm
off the
like,
next one.
Oh,
yeah, I kind of dug it so much that I may just try to dig up the issues and
for
um
sure.
read them, yeah, on my
Well,
own.
I
Because
mean,
like,
the third compendium is already available.
oh, is
Ooh,
it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
at comic shops
I'll get it
everywhere.
then. Yeah, I'll definitely pick it up.
Yeah,
But
that's it. Man, I don't know how many issues it went for. Is of course always the caveat with this is like I feel like I mean we're not there. We're not going to be there for a while, but that is always the thing about Milestone is it never got to go as long as they wanted, and they clearly had so much more
right.
that they could do. And I don't know exactly where Shadow Cabinet was building to. I know some of the twists and turns it took along the way. I don't know what it was planning. I do know that it was one of the books that got either canceled or maybe renamed technically, but it was essentially
Mhm.
replaced by another book just titled Heroes, which is whatever, which featured a lot of the same characters. I think that only ran for like 6 issues. I forget the specifics. It is one of the ones that ended before like Milestone as a whole proper ended,
Mm.
if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while, but it is I as with everything else, I can't help but wonder what the eventual plan was. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just
Sorry,
looking up how
we're
many
going too
issues
far
it
ahead.
ran for. No, 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 it's cool. Yeah, like I don't know. I was really, really pleasantly surprised. I mean, I remember we did in the first compendium, we did the Shadow Cabinet miniseries, and it was cool,
Hmm.
but like I don't know, this was it was nice to kind of live with them. You know what I mean? The team. This actually makes me
Yes.
want to go back and read that too, just to kind of
The
I mean,
the
I
the
remember
Shadow
one. Sorry.
the Shadow War crossover event was almost like the Sam Jackson appearances in
in the
the early
Marley
Marvel
Marvel
movies
movies.
before Avengers, and then the one cool comic was the Shadow Cabinet Zero issue.
Right, right.
Right,
Uh,
where
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
came
you're right.
together.
but otherwise, it was pretty much just
Yeah, because they were
like
just kind of popping up in people's books, right?
each of the books got introduced to and either given a opportunity to join or had to
R-
fight, etc.
Right, and there were the two squads. I forget what the other
Right.
team was, but yeah,
Yeah, I forget what the well, it was ambiguous about which one was good guys and which
right,
ones
right.
were bad guys.
Right. But
Yeah,
the reverse Shadow Cabinet, the bright uh box. No, that doesn't work. Anyway.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was just the thing where there was this weird war going on in the background. We never quite understood it, and then we come into this and we get introduced to Dharma and all these other characters, and yeah,
yeah.
um, it's yeah. I sorry, I had something I was going to say, and now I'm completely blanking on it. Uh, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it is a very different vibe, but it's also it's broadening the world, it's expanding it beyond the borders of Dakota in a way that I mean even Zombie was doing too, but in a different way, in a more, I mean, I hesitate to say realistic, but geopolitical, realpolitik kind of way. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I remember what I was going to say now though about Shadow War. Like the thing about Shadow War that I remember disliking at the time and still not being a super big fan of was just that like when they actually got to like the Shadow War conflict, they kind of threw like a dozen characters at us and we're just like, yeah, here's all the various characters. And like all
Mhm.
we had time for was like their
Right.
code name and their power. And that was about
Yeah,
it.
and that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like we got to kind of like live with them and see them, in
Yes.
in their element more and
Yeah,
interacting with one another.
exactly. I mean, actually getting their full backstory in this and their getting a little more of their personality, like that's
Yeah.
yeah, that was a real
What?
this is a real treat for it because then you get to see like, oh yeah, what is Sideshow's deal? What is up with Donner and Blitzen? And we
Yeah.
get more of their relationship and what their backstory is. So yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things I thought was really interesting. Well, so like Sideshow as a character, like I don't think we've mentioned it so far, but his powers, I mean, if you had to compare them to anything, it's kind of like like Beast Boy or Changeling,
Yeah.
depending on what era you're from. But he but it's I don't think they ever did this with Beast Boy slash Changeling, but there's this whole interesting dynamic where they let you in his head and see that he's kind of like it's not just that he turns into whatever animal or combination of animal he wants. It's like the animals are all in him, like trying to get out. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like and that's fascinating. It's like I don't know.
It's
I like that like thoughtfulness about like, well, wait, let's go a little bit further. Like, what would it be like to have these powers?
Yes, where it's not just like, oh, he can turn into animals, but like, no, he's literally like a dude who is fused with like the psyches of all these different animals
Right.
and is like these animals in a weird way. And they, yeah, no, it's fun that they explore the dynamics of that power. And like, when he's been captured by, oh, what was her name? It's a Greek name. The ex Shadow
Oh yeah,
Cabinet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Starts
What's
with a
it?
T, but
Thessalia or whatever it
yeah,
is. When he's been captured by her, and then he discovers, and then like one of the animals that's in her that's like keeping guard over them starts talking to him.
hmm
He pieces together that like it's not that the animal can talk, it's that she has some sort of psychic domination thing going on where she can talk through them. It's not
yeah,
really that Fox can talk. And
right,
so he's using his powers to sort of determine what's going on and like understand what's up with her powers yeah, it's
yeah.
fun. It's funky. And then
And oh yeah,
there's that
you're
great
probably gonna
piece
say
of
what I was gonna say.
sorry,
No, so you're probably gonna say what I was about to say. Go ahead.
just like that great last panel of issue 4 or that great last page. There's this
With
beautiful
Dharma, yeah.
no,
Oh
the
no, no,
last page.
not with Dharma. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the last page where it's like Sideshow apparently spends a lot of his time doing like meditation to kind of
Right.
keep his head together, and he does this. There's this, it's beautiful, weird little thing where he's fused into all this like orb of flesh because he's sort of like
Yeah,
maintaining balance among all the animals or whatever. It's great. It's
yeah.
beautiful
It's
stuff.
really, really interesting.
Yeah, no, JP Leone. I mean,
Right.
shocker. John Paul Leone was a great artist.
Right.
Who knew?
Which this answers a question for me when I was a kid, which was why did John Paul Leon disappear off Static for a while? Or
Oh
after a while.
yeah,
And but this is why, which he was doing great work over here. But
yeah. No, this stuff is beautiful. This is oh yeah. No, these issues are great. There's some great dynamic. Like I mentioned Donner a couple times, and I know she gets some more screen time too, along with Blitzen. Like I like that she's the big, strong action hero character who gets to like have fun with it. Like she's
mhm,
always kind of smiling or kind of having
yeah,
fun, just like busting up bad guys or smashing apart a tank. It's like I like that she's always kind of smiling and just like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna do this and jump into the fray and just smash a bunch of dudes. There's some great panels where she's just like bowling over 6 guys, and it's just I don't know. There's a joy to those panels that's really good. There's a dynamism that's really, really
yeah,
fantastic. And of
yeah,
course, Blitzen always like zipping around at light speed. Yeah.
yeah. And then you find out that if she overuses her
Yeah.
powers, like she basically slows down, like, and
Right.
she has to recharge basically.
Yes. They've all got to have their necessary drawback stuff.
Inconveniences. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it's sometimes it feels a little clunky, like how they have to establish certain parts of the powers. Like Tad, you were actually quoting that part at the beginning of the episode where like Iron Butterfly is flying over the it's like a it's a like a prisoner of war camp in Bosnia Herzegovina, and like Dharma calls her on the radio and is like, "Are you using your powers to control metal to do something unprecedented or whatever?" And it's like it's a little bit clunky to be like, those powers that you have, but I get it. It's you gotta explain them somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. It's these issues, man. They're just damn fun. I like them. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. No, no, we recommend them.
Yeah.
Um,
It is, I mean, it is different from what has come before in Milestone. This is not what well, it is and it isn't. Like it takes us out of Dakota. It doesn't stop being about like the people who have never the superheroes who have never been on, comic book covers before. Like these are the characters who were never given their own comics before. These are a new this is marginalized black and brown people usually getting their own series, and like in this case it's more about global liberation and different fights, and like it follows that tradition even if it's not literally about Dakota for like characters in Dakota. So
yeah, absolutely. And I would say that I mean if you think about it, like um like back in the days with the big two, it started out very New York based. But well, especially Marvel, or even more so than DC, because they had their fictional cities. But like then you spread out to like West Coast Avengers and like, different heroes that inhabit different places. So I mean, I think there's definitely room for it. And one of the things that is very Milestone, if you think about it, which to me is very relatable, just as a black person, is that it's cool to just read a book about this really unique team, and it's not a big deal that like the all-powerful dude is an Indian man, or that you got like an Afro-Latino like lead character, and they don't have to underline that they got an Asian character. Like they just are, like
Or
they're
a
just people
Palestinian
there.
woman is one of the main heavies on the team. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, because I mean that's what it's like to be a marginalized person. Is you're just a person that comes with your experiences and your the way you experience the world. It's everybody else's baggage that you know what I'm saying, that you're like a special flavor of human being. But so yeah, so it's kind of cool to just kind of like have this group where they just matter of factly are this team um that's really distinct
yeah.
and represents all these different identities.
Yeah. And I mean, even Ramon Rand, the sideshow gets his little backstory where yeah, it's man, I can't say enough positive stuff about this series. And
Also,
again,
I can't wait. I just have to say too. If you think about Ramon Rand, like if that was a regular DC book, because like, and a good friend of mine, like who is who's a Black Puerto Rican man, like he loves DC, but he also loathes what they've done with Latino characters like forever, because it's always like a horrific, tragic, really stereotypical backstory. You know what I mean? But like Ramon Rand, it's like more of like his father was this really like powerful
wealthy
businessman.
industrialist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's not about like, oh, of course, mi hermano was blown
and
away in a big gang thing, and like what I mean,
then
and then
body
I
and
got my
all.
powers. Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Like, and it's so it's like, I like that it's when you get writers that kind of understand different backgrounds, they don't have to fall back on like, oh, it's a brown character, so obviously his story's gonna be like this, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I it's and especially it's also fun to have him be not an ex hippie, but a hippie still, but like
Mhm.
have that issue come up and have him have his own little personality quirks that make him very distinct in his outlook from every other character. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's cool stuff.
I don't really know what else to say. Like these issues are really good.
Yeah.
It is going to be fun to see how they integrate with the rest of the Milestone universe and what they have to say when they start. I mean, they already did because they were part of Shadow War, but like once they start having more to do with what's going on in Dakota and my Icon and what Static's up to and all that stuff, that's going to be its own interesting branch of what are these characters, what do these characters mean to the larger world, as it were, I guess. I don't know how to put that exactly, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's yeah, I'm looking forward to what happens because I don't remember what happens, but also probably because they do play so differently than the rest of the Milestone characters so far. I mean, the same is true of Zombie, but Zombie also like was very specifically doing its own thing.
Mhm.
Like it was really doing its own weird, nonsense, crazy universe stuff. I mean that makes me sound like I'm being dismissive. I just mean it was very much off in its own corner of the world, whereas this is about the Dakota verse in a way that's very still ground level, but just all over the world. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to see them play more with the other Dakota characters.
Yeah. And when I peeked ahead, even though there's not any more Shadow Cabinet in this
Mm.
compendium, they do cross over with Blood Syndicate later.
Mm. Yeah, I knew that they.
Cool.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what happened, but yeah. Um, yeah, what is coming up next? Come to think of it, I haven't
Coming up
remember to take a look.
next
Static.
is
Oh, more static. Nice.
Static issues 15 to 20. So 6 issues of Static.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Okay, I was trying to remember if I.
A one shot and then a 5-parter.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember specifically what these are about, but oh man, flipping through this, I just accidentally
And
caught
then
another
some
glimpse of a.
then some mothership connection from Icon.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Uh,
I
2-part hardware and wrap up with some Blood Syndicate.
yeah. I just flipping through, I happened to spot another one of the JP Leone covers, and like, man, boy howdy.
Yeah.
Again, who knew? JP Leone, great artist.
Also, another cool thing I
I've
want to shout
heard
out
that.
is like,
Yeah.
I've heard
yeah,
that.
another thing I want to shout out is JP Leon, at least for some of these issues, was inked by the great Sean Martinborough too.
Hmm.
Who, you know, it's interesting because that we have covered some, I forget which book we've read recently, but something was illustrated by him. And this was like
Mhm.
very early in his career. And he's I don't know, like I love his work, like his kind of noir, just really dope style and his like strong shadows that he does now. But it was kind of cool seeing him over inking over like a really um awesome artist like JP Leon too.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
early in his career.
Yeah. Damn.
And
Oh
also, yeah, shout out to Robert Washington Jr. as
yeah.
well.
Shout out to Matt Wayne.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if this was. I haven't really been keeping track of the credits on most of these issues, so I don't know if these are his first issues, but they were. I mean, they were fun and snappy in a really in a great way. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Sorry, we
fine.
kind of petered out there,
I
but
think we
like,
no.
what
I
else
mean,
is there to say?
I think that's it. I think we recommend it. I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you got something that
Highly recommend. No,
that
I hit like brain dead 15 or 20 minutes ago.
okay, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah. You've
I've
had quite the
enjoyed
week.
hearing
Yeah.
your voices. I can't promise I've actually even understood what you were saying, but I'm gonna assume that it was very good and we had an
Yeah.
excellent episode.
Ted, are you in your first week of school right now? Are you first week of
No,
back teach? Oh.
I'm in week 3 of school.
Oh my God. Okay, then yeah, okay. No, I'm in.
But not only am I in week 3 of school, last weekend I went to the world premiere of Mark Prott's new play, House of Ideas, the third of his four
Mm,
color trilogy about
yeah.
Stan and Jack. And then I went to Cake, the Chicago Alternative Comic
Cool.
Expo. And then I drove to Indianapolis and saw Pearl Jam Monday night.
Oh, good
And then
God.
I drove home. And then I was back at school today. And I'm like, part of me is already at Wrigley tomorrow night for Pearl Jam. So, like,
Yeah, pride. No, I get it. I'm in my first. This is my last week before the start of school, so I'm gonna be.
no. We're in.
Yeah, you're deep
It's
in.
week 4 for us. We're week 3 for students.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh
I went
boy.
back on the 8th. So,
Fun stuff.
yeah, we're we're uh we're very much full speed ahead already. And I do, everything. So, I mean, today I helped with a writing assignment and I helped with math at 4 different levels and I helped with programming in the Unreal engine and
Oh my God.
I got like 6,000 steps in because I help a kid um, who needs crutches to get around navigate our crowded hallways between class periods and yeah, sometimes my brain just hits that point where it's like I have I have filled up. No more information is actually being retained, and I hit that point. So just let you guys talk because you were doing
Yeah.
really good talking, or at least I assume you were doing really good talking because I know you guys and you're awesome. So I assume that you do really good talking.
Well, thanks. I like to think so. But yeah, I mean, if anything,
And now I've
people
just overshared on the air. Hi, Mom. Hi, Britt. Hi, Adam. Hi, John.
remember, people,
Got
be kind
four
to your
consistent listeners now.
be kind to your teachers. They're having a rough one of it right now.
Mm, yeah. Yes,
I
indeed.
mean, it seemed like there were like 5 case managers out today. Yeah, we're
The new school year,
already
man.
like,
It hits us like a freight
yeah,
train.
it does. does. And I love it. I love every second of it. I say that like not even a little facetiously. I do. I like don't know how to do anything but teach. I teach when I'm not teaching. But sometimes my brain is full.
I feel you, man.
Mm.
Yes.
So I'm going to take us out and then babble at you for a couple of minutes where I'm not babbling at the world of people who listen to us. That I keep having people assure me is more than I think. And I would prefer that not be the case just because sometimes I really babble like an idiot. So for the Brothers Anderson, no relation, this has been the Shadow Cabinet on the Milestone Book Club on 22 Panels, and we will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.